Yeah. Good. Yes. Okay. Yes. Oh, so good afternoon, and and thank you for yesterday. It was really intense work you did, and now we have come to a, a, a place where we are preparing for finding out which business model we would like to go with if we want to change business model, or if we want to do a complete new one, then which of the bubbles we would like to innovate. And to do this, we need to kind of prepare ourselves before we go into that process. Because if we just if we are not professional in this sense, then it will be a lot of ideas and a lot of brainstorming, and we should do this and we should do this and we should do that. What we propose is a kind of a very fixed and strict process. So if we go next, so what you see here is we are going to see if we can find the business model of the business model that we want to innovate. So if we go next, and here we are using a specific process that I have shown you before, some glimpse of. So what we have done now is, as an optimal, is that we have downloaded what we have already. Uh, and if we have succeeded on that, then we will have some boards like we have up here. And also, if we have a situation where we have got a little bit more deeper, then we would even supplement that with having different B stars also filled out. And we have also the third thing is that we have over here, which is not present at the moment, but we have actually an overview of what kind of portfolios do we have, what kind of business models do we have. Uh, and then I have not commented on that before, but businesses, they can also have more businesses. So, for example, for my situation is that I have 6 businesses. I'm involved in 6 businesses. So that means that I have uh, actually 6 businesses that I have to take care of. And if you have a middle layer here, you have the business layer, then it actually says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do you see it? It's like when we were down at the business model or the portfolio layer, you can have more portfolios, you can have more business models, but you can also have more businesses. And sometimes the innovation calls for that you should do a new business. So uh, we have the B business, which only focus on the physical tools like what you have here. But then we have one business called Digi Business. So if you go on the internet and you look for Digi Business, then it has all the tools that is digitalized. And then because we have faced a situation in India that Indian universities and businesses, they would like to trade with an Indian business, then that is the reason why we have chosen to open an Indian business called CDC IDL. So you see, we are kind of in a situation where related to the business model layers, we don't necessarily have to innovate a new or change a business model. We can also do a new business. And that can be, for example, if we feel or we strategically find that it's better that we set up a business, a separate business. It still have 7 dimensions. And you can say the new business that are coming up here in India, it actually works in the Indian ecosystem. Whereas the other businesses, they work in Europe. Actually, not quite, because some of the trade we have already done has actually been invoiced to the European business. And one of the businesses that we also have a relation to, we are not 100% owning it, is called VDMB. I don't know if we can go on the internet, then you can have a look at it. It's just to give you some, I'm trying with a very personal, concrete example to show you what possibilities we actually have here. So it's called VDMB and double E. It's together. And then I think it's .com. And the reason why I don't know it exactly is I have only 6% of the shares. Okay, you see it? And it's also a B. And this is not my, I have not forced them to do that. But you can also see the cube. But it's addressing a very different ecosystem, because it goes for large businesses like Tata and Visma and very large businesses. I wouldn't say, I don't know if I'm getting in conflict with the CEO here, but I wouldn't say that it fits to SMEs as such, because it can go much more complicated. Maybe we can see the video from VDMB. Here, the biodiversity.
Better businesses innovate and transform continuously to create and secure value. Wouldn't it be great when your team is aligned and achieves shared goals? But how to align all the B's when we don't know the direction? When we don't understand the plan and its objectives? When we lack a dashboard to deal with surprises and analyze alternative scenarios? Together, smart creatives make the difference. Aligned teams need trust and respect, so together they can build strong, creative plans and set challenging objectives. With VDMB, you create a clear view on the development of your business to navigate and communicate effectively with all stakeholders. You can see, sense, scale, and globalize single or multiple business models to construct complete ecosystems. You can analyze alternative scenarios instantaneously and be well equipped for decision-making and control. Our platform creates alignment in your organization and delivers business value to you and your team. VDMB, your value management platform. Ready to join the smart creatives? Create and realize your winning strategy.
Okay, so do you get the So this is where they will typically address businesses that are at Tata and Visma and that size, and it's a totally different ecosystem, so to say, uh, because normally it's very difficult to get your software into such large businesses. It takes also much longer time to come in here. But I hope you have now got the point that we don't necessarily have to innovate this way. We can innovate on this side, and we can also innovate on ecosystems. And what we learned yesterday was that we have an ecosystem that is kind of uh, in the same kind of line. So they are maybe in the windmill industry, maybe they're in the solar cells and so on. And then we had the example with Cirque du Soleil, where we had the horizontal dimension. So where we had the circus, we have the theater, we have the cabaret. We could even maybe have those arenas where they play football or cricket and so on. So they might compete on the budget of each individual. Should I go to cricket or should I go to football or so on? So all this in an optimum we should have in our thoughts when we are doing business model innovation, and that address also the next phase, because often we are kind of doing business model innovation where we are kind of just looking in the wood that we are already working and operating in, but we should actually allow ourselves to see what is also going on around, what is also possible. Uh, and that is what the seeing phase is also about. It's about, of course, to have a look at our competitors, our existing business model ecosystem, how it looks, and also talking to some customers that we don't have in the ecosystem and ask them, actually, why are you not trading with us? Uh, and what values do we not provide? And then when we have the seeing phase finished, then we have the two kind of raw materials from the downloading, where we have understood ourselves and our as good as possible internal. And the second phase is that we have looked out, and then if I relate it to the relationship axiom, you remember again, we have seen our business models in relation with what we have of other business models inside the business, but also what is how we are related outside. That is the third quadrant. So we get a kind of as much as a 360-degree view of the whole situation. And then we come to the sensing phase, and this is where we start the innovation, the business model innovation. And this is where I'm trying to push you out to. And here is some kind of guidelines on how you should work with the sensing phase. And if we go next, this you cannot see all the text. It's actually also in Danish, but you can see that you have many possibilities here, because you can go the straight way, where stage by stage, but you can also sometimes walk directly over and then start on action. So you can actually kind of disrupt the business model innovation process if it's necessary. So if we go next. So many times when you look into a business, it looks very much like this when you look into the business model innovation. It's like we sometimes talk about that it's like we have a machine where we have put some raw material in, and then hopefully something will come out on the other side, and hopefully a business model that is of high quality. So this process can be extremely complex, and it can look different from one business model innovation to another. And if we go next, that's why we propose that any business model innovation process should at least have 7 phases. And it should have some specific content, so that we are not doing the business model innovation very sloppy and so on. And I think maybe also you have got a feeling when you are working with the B-Star, maybe also over here, that several of you had a tendency to go very quick on some bubbles, or maybe you already have formulated them like ideas and concepts and so on. And here is the supervisors very important, because they can go in and interfere with the process. So that, for example, if they see that the groups are wasting time, then they can actually go in and help the groups to come back on track. And I didn't do that much about because I wanted you to experience, but I could see that many of you just go like this, and that then you are actually wasting time often. So that's where the supervisor can go in, and I hope I can train some supervisors up here, so when you run it with your colleagues, students, with businesses outside and so on, then you can get more out of it. Because every time you start to work on a bubble, let's say we will make fruits from local farmers, and we'll do like this and this and this and this. Can you remember? Then you have already used some minutes on this, and you have taken off from what you were actually supposed to do. I'm a little provocative here, but it's Saturday, and there are sports and so on. So okay, so I will maybe comment on this again tomorrow, so we are sure that those who are not in the room, they also have the same background when we go for this. So next, so before we start, we always look at performance, and here you can see we have nicely lined up the performance of the B-boards. So let me see, I saw one here, this one over here, it has some that are in red zone. Let me take this one. So here it looks as if there are a portfolio and some business model here that could be in a need of having some help. So that could be one that we could put and say, okay, we would like to see look into that a little bit more deep, and then find out how can we help this one, or maybe if we investigated it a little bit more with take a red one. Let's say that this is red. It's at least light red. Then if you look at that, then you can drag it down, and then you can put it here, and then you can put people around. It might not be yourself. It could also be that you invite some experts to sit here around the table and then start to find out what is actually wrong with this one. As far as I remember, but you might know a little bit better than me, this one was B-boards. And B-boards had actually a high potential. It has a high potential, didn't it? Yeah. So it's a little bit strange that we are not able to have it up here if it has a high potential. Then you would maybe very quickly go and say, okay, it's because of the price. That's the easy one, top of the mind. It's because we have to lower the price 50%. And then the head of finance, he said, oh, no, don't do that, because then we'll never come to earn some money. No, but the customers, they want 50% discount. How do you know that? Well, this is my feelings. And feelings we can't use here. So we have to go a little bit more deep into it and find out what is actually really the challenge. Up here, let's say here, this orange here looks as if it's going over the B-board. So and it's in a very heavy growth, and that could indicate that the pricing is not correct. And if we want to kind of lower the growth, then we could maybe raise the price a little bit so that we capitalize on this one. We are maybe selling it too cheap. It could also be, for example, that our business model is a sustainable and circular business model. Is so attractive, and you can't get it anywhere else. So that means that customers are very eager to buy it. But then why not just put a little extra on top of the price so that we capitalize on it, and that will give the earning and success, at least on the business thing. So each of these raise some questions, of course, and each of them can be put on this here, and then we can start to work with it. I'll just put this over here. So the thing is, once we have found out and we have everything on the performance, then if we go next, then we have to define a business model innovation task. We have to have a task because that will be our guideline for the business model innovation process. And it will also be so that all those who are participating in the business model innovation process, they will know what are we trying to get out of this business model innovation process. So it means that this is maybe one of the most important thing. This is also maybe one of the most it's one of the reasons why a lot of business model innovation projects they get out of hand, because you have not taken the time to formulate the business model innovation task. and therefore, if you have not done that, then those who are those who are involved in it, they will start to think, and that's also good. But they will start to think, I think the business model innovation task is about this. Then the other one will say, no, I think it's about this. And that another one will say, no, it's really about this here. And some will just sit back and say, okay, sometimes someone will find out what it's about. And I don't know if you have tried it, sometimes also in projects when you are writing together, you're sitting there around the table, and then you think, I have even been into a very, very large business model innovation project where I think we were 10 participants, and 5 of them, they thought that one person in the group knew what it was about. But he did not know that they thought so. So he was just sitting like this and waiting until something turned up. And after we had, or they had, because I came, I came very late into the project. I need some heavy water. And then they had spent 80% of the budget for business model innovation, and they were coming very close to deadline, but they had not done anything. And we are talking about millions of dollars, but they had not done anything, and they had not even left ideation phase. And that scared me a lot, but then we started to work, and we reached it within time. So what can a business model innovation task be about? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Question? No. Okay. What can a business model innovation? It's okay. Yeah. It can actually be about very many things. We talked about it can be innovating a business. It can be innovating a business model portfolio. It can be about a business model. It can even be we want to create our ecosystem. But it can. It depends on what the business needs or demands, more specific. So any of these here will call for different business model innovation projects. And the decision is at the top management. Or those who are responsible for their, so they should know. I'm not saying that they could not give a free swim and say, please, here's $10 million, please play with it and let's see what comes out of it. That can be sometimes, but most often it's more specific. We need a new mobile telephone, or we need a new windmill. It has to be this amount of megawatt that it generates. We need a new biogas plant. We need all our business models changed so they are circular and sustainable. This is a very different task, and you have to formulate that at a very, very early stage, and also because if you don't do it at the very early stage, we see that in many business model innovation projects, those who are participating, they have turned to sometimes to change it in the process. so that it actually fits to the results that they get out of it. And that's a very, very smart thing to do, because then the result actually meets the task. And then when somebody comes and say that you didn't do what we had expected, well, I did. You see, the result is here, the task is here, it fits. What are you crawling about? So you should actually, at the very early stage, formulate the task. This is something we see very much in software and ICT industry, and often the customer has not specifically said what should be innovated. And another thing is, the customer during the process actually finds out, oh, you can also do this, and this is also included in this task. No, it's not. You have to pay a little bit more. So have a good turn on this one, because that is definitely something that you will value from when you work with it. When you define the business model innovation task, you also have to consider goals. You have to formulate your goals, both quantitative and qualitative, and you have to formulate your success criteria. What kind of short-term success criteria do you want to have? What kind of long-term success criteria you want to get out of it? This is also specified in our publications and in our books. You have to have this because otherwise you don't have a kind of a raw something where you can steer the boat through the sea. Let's go to the next. The downloading, I think we have already talked about why on earth I'm setting this up here, and that is because you formulate the task, and now you can start to download, and the task actually guides also to what should you download. And here you have to be a little bit careful, because you could maybe face a situation where the task is kind of limiting yourself. And you could fall into a situation where you actually had some opportunities that were very, very nice, but then nobody dares to go out of the box. So therefore, you didn't take them. The famous example is, of course, from IBM. I think it was IBM when Microsoft, was it Microsoft that came up with this laptop? That somebody at least found out that big computers could also be small laptops and small computers. And then they said, no, it has to be big and large and so on. And then Bill Gates, he went with it. So you have to put some security system in, that if something comes up, you of course register the bubble. Let's go next. The seeing I talked about just very shortly, but of course it's a question of, as I said, we have to look into the users and the customers and the suppliers. We also have to talk with experts, and not least also have a good view, and maybe also talk with the competitors. How do they see it? Yes. And then we come to the sensing phase, and the sensing phase has described in theory some specific phases. And if we take some of the classical one, it would classically be the idea. the concept and the prototype and the implementation phase. But what we have to realize here is that if we have some bubbles, then over here we have taken a decision that it can pass this line here and become a full color business model that we work with. So this line here is extremely important. Somebody calls it stage and gate, and stage and gate, and gate again. So every time it passes from one position to another one, we need to have some criteria for how and the reason why it can go over here. Because once we put it in here, oh, I forgot it was not magnetic. Once we put it into the machine, then we have decided that we want to pull resources into it. And equal to what I said, the first phase is performance. And the performance measure exactly how this one walks through the business model innovation machine. So if I have a circular and a sustainable business model I have decided I want to do, then I have to track how much time does it actually take to go through go to the market. I have to track on money, and of course in the task I have also said how much are we willing to invest. And it will always, I think that's my experience, it will always cost more than what you have budget. So you also have to have a kind of a buffer into. So when you are formulating the task, remember to put a budget, because you have to, those who are responsible for the business model innovation project, they have to live up to the budget. I hope you understand what that means. And if I have a budget, that is my estimate on what I have mentioned in the course called CapEx. So the term CapEx talks about that what capital expenses do I have on the left side? Does it give meaning? So when I start to do a circular and sustainable business model, I am budgeting on how much will I spend on it. And then when it goes into the right side, we have what we call OPEX, operation expenses. And that is also something that we have to calculate on when we start the project. That is, what is our expectation on how much will this business model have of OPEX costs when it comes on the right side. So I know that somebody will say, but Peter, you can't actually find out how much should the OPEX be over here. It's 5 years from now. Well, you have to, because this is actually put into the budgeting. So in 5 years, we will have this fantastic, sustainable and circular business model, and that will add a business model to our operation. So forget about it. I know engineers, they hate it very much because they will tell you that they cannot estimate what operation will be out here. And that's because it's nice to have a free swim, but when somebody says that you you have to really live up to what we can expect, then it gets a little bit more difficult. So we have capex, we have opex, and then we also have something that is called capping. And capping, it means that this morning I have for a long time been interested in building up something that costs a little bit money, and I don't have all the money available. So I was looking for somebody that would like to fund it. And I found actually one just before the professor came and collected me for lunch. So I know estimate how much it will cost, and then I looked into all the criterias. How can I get this money? And in that fund, they specifically said we would like to have this. The task is that you innovate a business model that looks like this, and this, and we could meet the criteria. So I am going, when I'm going back in the flight, I'm going to write the application. And then when I land in Copenhagen, hopefully, then I will send the application. And then I hope that we can get the fund so we can realize the business model. The only thing is, if we don't live up to the criteria, and that means we don't live up to the task, then they will be very unhappy. Very unhappy. Then I give you a small example, peculiar example. So, and this is also a way I'm proposing that you could work. So I don't believe that you can get funding within minutes. I don't believe that the projects that you want to innovate, well, you can do it within minutes, but you take some very critical risk if you do it that fast. I believe much more in working strategically. So all the time, I try, when we are operating, I have my bubbles, and then I write down how can we improve our business? What kind of business models are we missing? What things do we dream about? So dream is important here. And all those I note down on bubbles. And then at a certain time, I take all bubbles up and then I start to evaluate them and find out who are still interesting. Who of them are some that we could work with. So in 2005, I suddenly understood that it was necessary for us to have a big center only focusing on business modeling. And then I started to dream what this could be about. And I told the story the first day. And then I also immediately understood that to get this, I needed to have money. And in this case, my estimate was 10 million euros is equal to dollars. And then I also had, when can I deliver? So my time was 5 years. So you see, all these criteria, they are actually something that you have to specify in your task. So after having done this exercise, I started to work already in 2005. I went to cold Hawaii with 40 people. And we were not surfing all the time, but we were discussing about this dream. And then we found out who could participate and so on. And then in 2006, we formulated the application, and we handed it in, and we got it. On one premise, I had to promise that I would spend all $10 million within the 5 years. They told me very clearly, if you don't spend the money, we'll chase you for the rest of your life. Don't come back and say you couldn't have spent the $5 million. And we looked to each other and we said, yes, we go for it. So this is a kind of a different way of, working, because normally you work the opposite way, that the customer says, I can't afford it. You have to save money, cost, and so on. But here you actually have a customer that goes the opposite way. You really have to do a very, very strategic work here to specify the task before you go into the sensing phase. How are we coping with time? 5 minutes. Okay. So if we have the task with just wrapping up, contains the vision, the mission, the product specification, it has the goals, it has the budget, it has the success criteria, and so on. And this is before we invite people around the table to do the sensing. Then we have the basic for doing to start the sensing phase. Then we have one thing more that we also need to consider, and that is risk. And we have to ask the management, how much risk do you want to take? And managers, they can sometimes be a little bit shaky when you start to take that discussion with them. If I'm employed in a business and the manager does not tell anything about the risk, then I go immediately for the highest risk. So I will consider that high risk is what he would really like. So I go for the big projects. But to be fair, you actually have to talk with the CEO. How much risk do you actually want to take to get these sustainable and circular business models? This leaves with us a question: how do you find out how risky a business model is? Well, that's very easy, because we have a model that I will show after the break. Is that okay? So don't hesitate and don't be frightened, because I will actually show you a model how we can define risk. Okay?